Welcome to the Vegan Squad Pod, a podcast made to inspire vegans to become activists. Join us and our guests as we deep dive into effective forms of activism that we believe will change the world. Whether it's going to vigils, building a physique that shows people we don't need to eat animals, public speaking, or any other form of activism that you'll hear on this podcast, we want to empower you to find your voice and to speak up for justice. Thank you so much for being here and enjoy the episode.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to a phenomenal episode of the Vegan Squad Pod. As always, I am the bodybuilding vegan, aka my birth name, John Thomas, joined by Alex Nearest, aka your vegan mentor, with the one at the end, my trusty co-host and co-founder of this podcast, and he also helps with getting all the technical stuff together too. So awesome, thanks there. And today we are joined by Jonathan Faran, one of the founders of Vegan America. And if you haven't heard of Vegan America before and you're vegan, you've been living under a giant rock, I'd like to welcome you into the 21st century. Of course, we have Amazon, but if you're vegan and you want to make sure every single product you order is vegan, then go to Vegan America. They're going to take care of you. I personally ordered from there. I know both of the co-founders, and they're downright good people doing a lot of things to help in so many ways for the animals, because when we look at it from a business perspective, the more businesses that we can help support, the more customers we can help support, the more animals we can help save. So welcome, Jonathan. Thank you for being here. Let's have you tell the world a little bit about what you're up to right now and how you see Vegan America shaping it.
First of all, thank you for inviting me. It's nice to be here. It's a great honor for me. So yes, as John mentioned, Vegan America, in one sentence, when I want to break the ice, when I pitch Vegan America, I say that Vegan America, just imagine if Amazon and Costco had a plant-based baby. There you go, Vegan America. Yaron, my co-founder, and I, both of us, have been vegan for many years now. And we had a goal in mind. We wanted to make plant-based consumption more accessible and more affordable. And we started Vegan America by the end of last year. Okay, the idea kind of came to us. We explored many different ideas. I think the plant-based space in general is still untapped. I know that people might be surprised hearing that, but from a business perspective, I think there's a lot of opportunity that many people a lot of people kind of miss or tend to kind of overlook. And then I think the first idea of the marketplace came to me when 2 years ago, I needed non-leather shoes for my school events. I went to the University of Chicago to Booth School of Business. So here I am in downtown Chicago looking for non-leather shoes, like dress shoes for my events. And then I was living next to State Street in Chicago, knocking on several stores, knocking on their doors, looking. I just want vegan dress shoes. Can you please help me with that? And I knew for a fact they had them. It exists. You can find them online. Okay, but they all looked at me with empty eyes, like I was out of this world, I don't know, some kind of an alien or something. Nobody has asked them that before. And then I thought, how come nobody has built a one-stop shop for everything that's plant-based, a place for me to find my shoes. Okay, and then the idea started rolling, developing, and we launched the marketplace last November. And in a few months, it has become the largest plant-based marketplace on earth, basically, maybe in history. We have hundreds of sellers, tens of thousands of products. You can find food, fashion, cosmetics, home and household products, gifts, and more that we're adding on a weekly basis. When people think about plant-based consumption, they obviously first think about food. And obviously food is the first thing that, you kind of consume when you go plant-based, right? You change your diet. But the plant-based space has so much to offer, more than just food. Okay, what about fashion? What about the shoes that I was talking about just a few minutes ago? What about cosmetics? It's not our world, but still. Unfortunately, in 2026, most of the people use animal ingredients in most of their daily activities without even knowing that. So basically, you brush your teeth. Most of the big toothpaste companies, they include animal-derived ingredients within the toothpaste. When we wash our clothes, the detergents have animal ingredients in them. When we wash our dishes, the same. Okay, when we clean our houses, we clean them with animal ingredients. Like, doesn't it sound like crazy to you that we still use that in such a capacity? Okay, so that then we kind of like, that's what made us start the marketplace, and it's been showing a lot of growth and major. And it started with like the more vegan, mission-oriented brands. Now more brands are starting to opt in that you must be familiar with. And we see customers show the interest in the platform, like I do, that building trust with customers. It takes time, right? But there are customers that we see them come for their fifth and 10th and 15th order already. And we recently started a membership. We call it Plan Preferred, if you want an Amazon Prime equivalent. And we see people opting in for this membership, and people reach out to us and thank us for, I think they want to reduce their amount of like how much they use Amazon and other platforms like Amazon, okay, from ethical reasons. And they also thank us because they look at us as like, finally there is someone who's building a product to serve the vegan community, the plant-based community, the people who want to choose better, but it's really hard for them to find more ethical, better options. And this is when Vegan America comes into play. And recently, besides product, we expanded into services too. Okay, so you can find, to whoever listens to that, you can find both of these beautiful guys here, handsome guys here, on Vegan America with their services, and we want to expand services too. People are looking for to consume and to hire. If they need someone to work with, they would prefer people who are share the same mission, share the same vision. If it's fitness, if it's traveling, if it's nutrition. I was even recently got like inquiry for vegan psychiatrists, so for vegan therapists, and it made perfect sense. I had never thought about it before, and I understood that people are looking for that, and there are some vegan therapists too, because I think that once you dive into the world, you see the like what's going on in the animal agriculture world, and then you kind of think to yourself, hey, why are we still doing that? And then you go to a therapist, try to talk with him or her about that, and well, they eat meat, so you feel uncomfortable and it feels weird. So yeah, we expand the marketplace to more venues. And the idea is to become a one-stop shop for everything that's plant-based. And again, to make it easier for people to consume plant-based. That's it.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Groundbreaking, amazing. I've been vegan for 20 years, and this is the first type of platform that offers these both products and services. And I think it's so interesting, Jonathan, that you bring up the plant-based and the vegan therapist, because we literally just had we're as vegan squad. I knew this when we started. I knew coaching wouldn't be the only thing that we do, because coaching alone, like one-to-one health and fitness coaching, won't help the world go vegan as fast as we want it to. So now we're branching out into business coaching and working with businesses and individuals that are vegan that want to have an impact. And one of the people that we're bringing on now is a vegan therapist. And it's honestly, like, to make this a little bit about myself, it's near and dear to my heart because my brother is vegan, and he went to a therapist for about 2 years, and he pulled me aside once he finished his therapy and said, "Hey, you should go check out my therapist. He taught me that I don't have to tell other people about veganism. I don't have to share the message. I don't have to worry about converting anyone. All I need to do is take care of me and be silent, and everything will be great." And I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but it broke my heart because I feel like this therapist that was not vegan convinced my brother, in a space that was supposed to be a safe space, that my brother should not speak up for the 80 billion land animals and trillion sea animals killed every single year by humans. And so I think about it, if my brother had gone to this vegan therapist, how else would he have been healed from what he went to therapy for? But also, what would his perspective be on the world when he comes out? So I think it's so awesome. I think I'm going to need to connect you with Caitlin. She's awesome. She's a great licensed therapist for Florida and New York. But we're also branching her out into doing life coaching for every state, every country, because someone with those resources and skills doesn't need to be limited by states and by laws and jurisdictions. Like, this is groundbreaking stuff. So, anyways, I wanted to throw that out there. And I also want to tell you about this snowball I've been working on in my head. And you're a huge part of it with Vegan America. So I want the world to go vegan. That's part of the reason why this is an activism-based podcast. And I think the best way for the world to go vegan is for vegan businesses to have more money. Because if vegan businesses have more money, they make more products. If they make more products and services, then it's easier for consumers to go vegan. And if it's easier for consumers to go vegan, more consumers will go vegan. If more consumers go vegan, they'll spend more money at vegan businesses like Vegan America. And then this snowball just creates an avalanche, and eventually, through business, the world goes vegan. That's my thought process. It could be wrong, but I think that this will be the way, because it used to be so much harder to be vegan. There was no Vegan America. There when I started, there wasn't even the crappy tofurkey that people used to say was horrible for Thanksgiving. So, anyways, I digress before I go too deep. But the work you do is invaluable. There's no way to put a price on it. Like it is, you are literally shaping the future, and I hope you can recognize that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And again, my co-founder and I, we continually speaking about the flywheel that you just described. Okay, raising awareness to plant-based consumption leads to increase in demand. If companies see the financial opportunity in the plant-based space, and there is financial opportunity, there are basically endless opportunities in plant-based space, the companies will incorporate more plant-based option into their offering, whether it's a restaurant that will offer you vegan dishes, or retail companies that will offer either more fashion, like clothing that is more ethical, or more food into their offering. And then if if it's easier to be vegan or to consume more plant-based, then more people will eventually, consume plant-based, and then it will lead to raising awareness once again, and then the flywheel goes on and on and on. That's exactly the flywheel that Yaron, my co-founder, and I, we had in mind when we started like Vegan America and making like the wheels moving. So yeah, I believe that you're 100% right.
I think it's awesome too how, you're right. People do come into veganism with, more so thinking about food, but being on your site, they're able to see the cosmetics, the clothing, the supplements, and, maybe they're not making that connection beforehand, but being able to see all those different options and tabs that you have available on your website, they're able to be like, oh, damn, I didn't know that. I don't know, like wool isn't vegan. I should avoid it, and why, so it kind of just gives them more opportunity to learn more about all these different pillars of veganism outside of food as well. So, and I had no idea that you've been like Vegan America has been around less than a year. That's so impressive. Like 7 or 8 months, and you have like over 200,000 followers and so many people using your platform. Like it's just insane. So yeah, I'm excited for you to continue this snowball. I'm curious, when did you go vegan? And yeah, can you explain kind of your story there, and like what was your light bulb moment?
Sure. Okay. So let me surprise you and tell you that my journey with plant-based consumption started when I was 4 years old. I turned vegetarian when I was 4 years old. And my parents, unfortunately, up until this day, they eat meat. They reduce it significantly, but still they eat meat. Um, that's one of the pain points, I think, to kind of be surrounded by people you love. That obviously I love my parents, but you see them eat meat, and it's always the kind of like a contradiction that I have in my head. But anyway, when I turned 4 years old, there was a new movie coming up, Chicken Run. Have you seen this movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the moment I saw that and understood that the chicken, for people who listen to this podcast and don't know about Chicken Run, I think it went out in 1999 or 2000, something like that. And it's about a chicken coop that goes through financial distress, and then the owners decide that they're going to transition from producing eggs to producing meat. Okay. And then the chickens want to escape the coop because they understand they're going to face a certain death. And then the 4 years old me was like, am I eating that? Like, I think chicken soup was 90% of my of my diet back then, and I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. And I was kind of rebelling against my parents. I was a very stubborn kid. I am still a very stubborn kid in a sense. Okay. But yeah, so plant-based consumption has always been there for me. Growing up, not eating meat at all. I never I've never eaten fish in my life, for example. When I taste like fish substitutes now, like Oshi, which is a great company, selling like vegan salmon. I tasted it. The product was great, but I couldn't even relate to what's like the real salmon taste. Like I've never eaten that in my life. Um, so that's when I turned vegetarian, and then 10 years ago, that was funny. I was vegetarian. My brother was eating meat, and then my brother decided that he's going vegan in a single day after he understood the implications of what's going on in animal agriculture. And then after seeing him go vegan, I was like, well, I know that's the moral thing to do. I know that's the right thing to do. So 10 years ago, I decided to go vegan. And I don't know, people kind of say that it's hard. I understand why it's theoretically hard, less like options until Vegan America came into play. Um, but I never thought it was hard. And I never thought, like, to look back, I think that this is by far the most impactful thing that anyone could do, even individuals. Like, let's say that they're not calling themselves activists. We can decide, like, kind of like talk with an activist or not, because I think the waves of impact you create, even like just by living according to these values of I want to save lives, you make waves and you create a lot of impact. Um, but I think that all in all, it's not that hard, and the amount of life you save, the impact you have as an individual, it's endless. Okay, it's countless, it's endless, and yeah, I think it starts with our daily choices. What do we do? Like, where do we put our money? Which restaurants we go to? Which companies we want to support? Which nonprofits we want to support? And there's a lot of bad things going on in the world right now, but I think the one most important thing we could do is to stop animal agriculture, reduce the amount of animal ingredients we're eating, okay, and go plant-based. We're killing trillions of animals each year, and the only reason for that is for our taste buds, okay, because it tastes good. You can live a happy life, tasteful life, without eating animal ingredients, without eating animals in general. Um, so yeah, basically, vegetarian stands for vegan for the last 10 years, and probably for life.
The coolest part of this podcast for me is getting to see each person's story and realizing how many of us have very similar lived experiences, almost on like a universe or cosmic way of us all doing this alone and now finding each other a little bit later in life. And I think, honestly, with social media and the internet, our ability to connect and network is going to be a power that we've never had before as vegans. Like I know people like Ella Majors that have been vegan for 30 years. Like it's a different game now. And what's interesting about your story, I did not have the conviction you had, but I got close. At 4 years old, I saw my dad, and he was fishing and asked if I wanted fish for breakfast the next day, and he was like, I can do that. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to eat fish. And I didn't realize that it was the same fish in the water until I saw him pull the fish out of the water. The fish was suffocating on the dock. I threw a fit. He put the fish back in the water, let the fish live, hopefully. And a lot of people don't know this too. Like 25% of all fish that are caught that are thrown back in the water die from their injuries. Like people just don't know that. But anyways, I didn't eat the fish at that moment, but I didn't go vegetarian then. It wasn't until I was 10 years old. My friend told me, she told me, if you eat a cow, or if you're eating a hamburger, you're killing a cow. So I went vegetarian within a few months after that. Like I still think like you are really early adopter, Jonathan. I feel like I'm a relatively early adopter, but 3 years later, I learned what veganism was, and I went vegan that day. And I convinced her, my best friend at the time, to go vegan. She just actually had a vegan child, so like she stuck with it too. Like you said, the ability to make those impacts and make those ripple effects goes. I also do want to encourage the listeners, if you're already vegan, the next step, like there's always another step. The next step is activism. And that's what Gary Yourofsky said after giving 2,000 speeches. He told us on this on this podcast that his biggest regret was telling people to go vegan instead of telling them to become activists. And I also want to clarify too, activist doesn't necessarily mean with a street sign and yelling at people or things like that. Like that's one form of activism, and I don't disagree with it. But even sharing a Vegan America post or co-founding a vegan company, like what better activism could that be? So I'm curious, in your own journey, you went vegan pretty young. When did you start to identify as an activist in your own head? I'm just curious, because for me it took 16 years, and I'm disgusted that it took that long.
Oh, that's a fantastic question. Um, well, I think my answer would be that I started calling myself an activist when I started Vegan America, and that's a mistake. Okay, that's a mistake. I think that's a mistake because again, there are multiple kinds of activism. Okay, you can go to protests. That's a very well respected activism. You can just ask or tell about take your friends to a vegan restaurant. That's activism, right?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, let's break down what activism actually means. It's basically taking an act, right, to create a certain change or to create a certain impact, right? This is how I see stuff, at least. And I think the highest impact or the highest like activism you can get is first of all by follow your own moral guidance, okay? And even if you do it silently by not telling everyone, just, you know, let's talk about veganism. You're in a restaurant, even if you don't speak with veganism about if you don't speak with everyone about veganism, you ask the waiter and you order the vegan dish and everybody sees that. I call it activism, right? And there is a spectrum. So in my head, I started to call myself an activist when I started Vegan America, even in the ideation phase. But I think activism started the way that the day that I went vegan or even vegetarian when I was a kid. Robert Chick, which I really admire, John, you guys probably know him. When we just started ideating, he was amongst the first one to speak with us. We were debating, like, we didn't have any idea. We were just like thinking, hey, we want to create impact. Let's speak with like figures in the plant-based space. He was kind enough to one speak with us and to even send us one copy of his book, The Impactful Vegan, which is a great book. And I remember I took a lot of things from them from the book, but one particular thing that I remember is being impactful. Okay, that's the one and only thing that's matter. So when we speak about activism, I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not trying to be right. No, I'm trying to be impactful. Okay, so people speak a lot about messaging and how we should convey the plant-based messaging, like to people who even don't want to listen. Okay, so I'd say that activism really depends on the audience you try to speak with. So try always, the baseline is try to be as impactful as possible within certain your circumstances. That's what I have in mind. Um, and yes, I think being being impactful, that's the only thing that matters. Reduce the amount of pain. Many people kind of face Vegan America and ask us, well, if a company, would you be open, for example, to include companies that sell beef, but within the patty, they embed 80, 90% of like vegan material, soy or something. Okay? And then it raises a moral discussion. Okay? Because theoretically, you'd say it will have impact, but it's complicated. So I think that be impactful as long as you don't like go off your moral stance. Obviously, you won't do that like 100%. No, I'm not supporting beef in any stance. I'm just saying that always the thought is to be impactful, but yet keep on your moral guidance. That's how I see activism.
I have 2 points, and then I'm so sorry, Alex. I don't know if you have any, but Jonathan, you cannot imagine being in my head right now. The way the universe works blows my fucking mind because about 15 years ago, I was sitting in Bellamy Grand Apartments in Gainesville, Florida, in the sun, reading Robert Cheek's book on how to be a vegan bodybuilder because I had been a vegan bodybuilder in my head for about 3 years at the time. And there was nobody else doing it. This was before I had Instagram. I might have even still had like a flip phone. But Robert Cheek had this book, and I met a cashier at Publix, this gay vegan that gave me his book. And he became my best friend after that time. But he gave me the book, and it was signed by Robert Cheek. I've read the whole thing. And I was like, you know what? All this crap I've been trying to do alone, somebody else has done this. I can do it. Fast forward, I meet Robert Cheek. He becomes my friend. We haven't talked for about 8 months. We exchanged a couple text messages last night and today, and he has an extremely huge opportunity for Vegan Squad and to work alongside him. And the fact that you bring up his name and talk about his book today, when I literally was sending him a text message not 4 hours ago, and we haven't talked for like 8 months, it's just in the universe wants this to work. And I was thinking maybe I'll back out of the podcast today because I've been overwhelmed. I've had 6 calls already back to back. But no, we're here, and this just gives me it's another nod from the universe that we're doing the right thing, we're connecting with the right people, and we're making this happen. So yes, I know Robert Cheek, and what an icon. I think he's part of the reason I'm here talking to you right now. Um, and I don't even remember the second point. Oh, but I guess like being impactful and not compromising on your morals. I think it's a difficult game because we want people to move in the right direction, but we can't control anyone else. So we can only inform and educate to the best of our abilities. But vegan America for me, what I was going to say is special in a way because when I go out to restaurants, it's not that I don't want to support even Burger King. They have the Whopper, right? Like the Impossible Whopper. I could go support them. I know though, statistically, if I eat there 1,000 times, they're probably going to make a mistake once. And I don't mean like they give me fries instead of a burger. I mean they give me accidentally a animal an animal slaughter to kill them and make a burger that either I now throw away or unintentionally eat. And neither of those sounds like a good day. So I try to go to vegan restaurants as often as I can. But even in my 20 years of veganism, I still make mistakes. If I go to Walmart, if I go to Amazon, I don't know everything. And I guess it's like obvious now that I could check literally everything, but sometimes you're in the moment, you're like, oh, I'm getting salt. Like, and like, I don't know if there's ever anything that's not vegan in salt, but you don't know. But if you're on Vegan America, you do know. You do know. And you also know you're supporting these vegan businesses. And that again is like I'd rather put my money, my limited money. Like I don't have unlimited money. If I did, I would pay for the world to go vegan. But um, I'd rather support these restaurants and then the businesses that you guys have on there. So I don't know. My mind is just blown right now with the Robert Cheek thing. That's amazing. I actually recorded a video and just sent it. I was like, dude, we're talking about you. So it's crazy. Alex, do you have anything? Because I know I just was long-winded there.
No, no, I'm also just shocked. As soon as you mentioned Robert Cheek's name, I was just like, no way. um, but that's really cool that you were partnered with him, or I mean, at least, yeah, just got like direction from him. And I really like your definition of activism. I don't think we've had somebody on the podcast to define activism yet, so I thought that was really important, and I appreciate you speaking on that because it really does come down to your actions. It's the act of making change. So I love the way that you define that, and yeah, like using your moral cursors to figure out which way to go is key. And you're also solving that issue with Vegan America because everything on there is vegan, so you never have to second guess anything.
Alex brought
Yes.
me. Oh, he brought me back. Sorry, I feel like this is worth saying. I know this is your episode. I should be letting you talk more. But I also really want to curate these episodes because I've had people reach out and say they've listened to a few and they've decided that they're activists now. Like they identify as activists. And I was asking one of the coaches on our team. His name is Seth. He's been vegan, I believe, 6 or 7 years. Vegan bodybuilder. Like his name is Seth V Fit on Instagram. And I said, so are you an activist? And this was recording, and he's like, no, I don't think so. And I said, really? Like, you have a vegan word on your Instagram handle, you're a vegan bodybuilder, you're wearing a vegan shirt, and you work for Vegan Squad Coaching. You don't feel like you're an activist? And he's like, well, I didn't think about it that way. I didn't view all those as forms of activism. And I agree with you, Jonathan. I think those are all forms of activism. And I also think some of it is the mindset of an activist. Like, are we actively working to change the world? Because I think the first 16 years I was vegan were very dark times for me. And I didn't really know it. It was almost like living in black and white. And now I live in color. I can see. Um, I never identified as an activist. I think because if you're an activist, you at least believe change is possible. And if you're not an activist, you just think this is the way the world is. And that's where my brother sits now. He's not an activist. I'm vegan, but that's just the way the world is. Whereas I want to come into this with what happens if I go into this, like as far as getting my head tattooed and go all the way in for the rest of my life, what could we change? And if I partner with people like Jonathan, creating companies like Vegan America, what could we change? If that belief of change is there, and we identify as an activist, I think it makes us stronger. So I think now you saying, at least by the date that you started Vegan America, being able to say, I'm an activist, I think that's power. That's power of belief. And that can just about change the world on its own.
Yeah, I think if somebody hears this podcast and thinks, hey, maybe whether debates whether they're activists or not, only by reducing the amount of animal-derived ingredients you eat and consume, you're by definition an activist. That's it. You're going against the stream. You're thinking outside of the box. You see what's going on and you decide to act differently. You're an activist. And I think that every one of us has stories about, well, I didn't talk with plant-based, with veganism, like I didn't talk about veganism with my friends, but my mom started to incorporate tofu into their menu, to her menu. And then my roommate is, and that's a true story, by the way. He eats meat up until this day, but I open his fridge and there you go, Beyond Steaks in his fridge. Why? Because he's into bodybuilding and he wants a lot of protein, and he ate the product with me. And that was fantastic for him. That was tasty, obviously. And then there you go. So isn't that activism? Okay. I, I would call it
Yes, sir.
100%, more than 100% activism. Okay. You said one animal, that's activism. And by making him choose a plant-based option over a meat one, we save life, right? That's activism. And also, one of the reactions that we get when people see Vegan America, um, we see the excitement about you. They feel like finally somebody see them. You know what I'm saying? Like I was in this meeting with many vegans, and then I introduced Vegan America, and one girl is like, "Did you build a vegan version of Amazon? Finally, somebody is building something for me." And I think that many people go on that journey alone. Okay, I was bullied all my life for not eating meat. Um, People called me in girls' names. I don't know, meat is manly, blah 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 blah. But seriously, I could not care less. I could not eat animals. That's it. And then most of us go and kind of like go or become vegetarians or vegans by ourselves. Okay, before social media, and even now today, like most of the people in the world still eat meat. And when you do that consciously, you're choosing to act different and to be different in a sense. And then I think the hardest part in turning that into like plant-based diet or lifestyle or veganism, whatever however you want to call it, is actually the criticism you get from society. And that's, I call it like a disaster, basically. You're choosing not to eat animals, not to harm life, not to to do something good for the planet, for the environment. Everything is good about that. There is no downside besides like the fact that where's the barbecue, you won't eat the steaks. Oh my God, what happened? Okay, come on. And then you're being judged for that. Okay, people look down at you saying you're either as a man growing up. People call me in girls' names because I was not eating. I remember that very boldly. Okay, Vegan America is kind of my way to take something that throughout my life, I thought I was weird for choosing. I thought I was odd. But now, as a grown up, I look at that as I was the kid who saw things differently and was brave enough to take an action, was bullied for that, and I'm taking that and turning that into a company, something that I put up front. And now, as a kid, it looked weird to me. I was not even aware of all the consequences of what's going on in the animal agriculture. I was just thinking of killing a sentient being, an animal that I want to play with, I don't want to eat it. And now I'm turning that into a company that will change the world. Okay, will change the world. We're changing how plant-based not only is consumed but also perceived. And we are here to serve people like me, like you, who felt alone. And now finally there's a company who builds a product for them without running away from terms and definitions. No, one goal: to save lives, to save animals. That's it.
Thank you for being strong and sharing where you came from. I was bullied a lot for my hair, for my teeth, not for as much. I kept it. A lot of people didn't know. Just did not tell people. I already was bullied enough for how I looked. And so for you to be bullied for your ethics and morals, it makes me want to go back to younger Jonathan and give him a hug and be like, dude, you didn't do anything fucking wrong. You were just ahead of the curve by so much. And I think we all know this now, or at least when we sit and look at it, there's somebody listening to this that's going through something similar. If you get really fit, people are going to make fun of you for being fit. If you get really good grades, people are going to call you a nerd. If you get really good at video games, they're going to call you a gamer, like even if you're making money off of it. And it comes from jealousy, and it comes from feelings of inadequacy. When you see someone excelling, you have two options to look at. You can either be inspired or be put down. And a lot of people are programmed to be put down. And so when you, Jonathan, shove it in their face that a 10-year-old is vegetarian, or even a 4-year-old is vegetarian, and they, in their heart of hearts, they know it's wrong, they get upset at you for reminding them that it's wrong. It's not that you did something wrong. It's all back at them. It's all their own internal beliefs about themselves. At the end of the day, I think a lot of people know that this is wrong, and it's just easier to put other people down than to question their own beliefs or to question how they really feel. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for being honest and sharing. And probably not that many people have been through what you've been through, because not that many people are radical enough to challenge society at 4 years old. I think Ella Majors went vegan at 7, so you two have some stuff in common there. I mean, I thought I was early at 10, but damn, 4. Also, I wish we could go to preschools. I could have some good conversations with a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old and get across what Chicken Run did for you. I mean, kids get it. Kids have hearts before they get covered up by society. Bringing this back to vegan America, you guys do a lot. You do something special. I'm curious, like, I guess I could go to a few different routes. Well, one, I'm sure some people are going to question, how do you know? How do you know that all the vendors are vegan, or at least the products are vegan? What do you guys look into? I'm sure you have some sort of vetting process. And then part 2 to that question, if there is a vendor that's vegan listening, what's the best way for them to get in contact and get on your site?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, we do a lot of stuff to make sure that all the vendors and all the products are vegan. I'd say that because we are impactful and not smart, we're working with vendors that even have one vegan product in their offering. It's good enough. Make it listed on Vegan America. This is exactly the change you want to see. More you know how we measure success in different ways, but one of the ways will be if non-vegan companies will start incorporating vegan options into the menus because they want to get listed on Vegan America. Okay, this is how success looks like on Vegan America. And for whoever listens to this podcast, we need your support to do that. Okay, if you will help us do that, go on Vegan America, find thousands of unique vegan products that not only are vetted vegan, and I'm going to touch in 1 second, I'm going to touch that exactly in 1 second, how we're going to do that, but also a lot of emerging brands, small brands, a lot are mission driven that need your support and are getting buried in platforms like Amazon, Walmart, and so forth, because they're competing with giants that will swallow them. In Vegan America, they get the stage. They are putting upfront. We're doing a lot of collaborations, media collaborations with them on social media, in the newsletter that we send out featuring products. So you not only consume plant-based, but also support vegan brands, vegan-friendly brands, and that's super important. That's like seriously the same. And the way we do that is, first of all, I'm vetting all the products and all the vendors myself. If a vendor wants to join Vegan America, one of the steps in the process is go on a call with one from our team, mostly me. Okay, we introduce them to the company and then make them understand that the products have to be vegan. Even if they have non-vegan products, it's all good, but they need to commit to not upload non-vegan products to Vegan America. Okay, and when they apply, they fill out a very short application form. They commit that there is a, one rubric there that says, I commit to only upload plant-based products, and they have not even to mark it, but to type yes. So we understand that they know what they're doing. Okay, that's stage one. Stage two is when they upload the products aren't automatically go live. We vet them, you can find it on our website. We build a whole directory of vegan ingredients, non-vegan ingredients, and ingredients that can actually be derived from both like origins, animal and non-animal. And we'll look at the ingredients of each and every product to see if there are any problematic ingredients that, we need further clarifications if we do reach out to the vendors. So basically, that's like the second stage, second vetting. And there are many companies, not many, but there are a few that try to upload non-vegan products, and we stop them. Okay, we even and in our terms and condition, it says that we reserve the right to delete the products from the platform, or even to kick out vendors if they don't comply with only uploading plant-based products. And we already did that, okay? And third, one thing that we started implementing in new products is leveraging AI to determine if products are vegan or not. And that's super helpful. So there are 3 stages of the process, and we really, looking into the small details. Sometimes it's hard. We can discuss like difference between vegan to plant-based. I assume you did that like multiple times already. Okay, but some of the ingredients we don't know the origin for, and it's problematic. Okay, but if we're not sure that it's plant-based, it's not going on Vegan America. So this is the vetting part, the process, and how, if you're a vendor listening to that, how you can join us. So 2 ways. One, on Vegan America, scroll down, there is a page that's called Sell With Us. Click on that, fill a very short application form, and we'll reach out to you. Or reach out to me on Instagram, to Vegan America on Instagram, or to me personally on Instagram, or to my email, jonathan@vegan-america.com. Send me an email, or to info@veganamerica.com. One of the team will reach out to you. We'll let you know about next steps. But one important thing that I want to mention here, joining Vegan America is 100% free for vendors. We're not charging any monthly fees or something like that. And setup takes, seriously, between 10 to 15 minutes, and my record is 8 minutes. So we build a process to make it easy for brands to onboard, and it's proven successful. We have more than 400 vendors on the platform selling, and in 7 months, we have a join rate of between 10 to 20 vendors a week. It really depends, but still. So vendors are opting in, reaching out to us, and we are happy to do that. At first, we needed to kind of reach out to them, bring them to the platform. We still do that, obviously, but now we see an inbound process of vendors who reach out to us and ask us to be listed on Vegan America. And again, even if you're not 100% plant-based or vegan, if you have only one vegan product, you're still welcome to sell on Vegan America, okay? We'll try to make you understand that adding more vegan products will be beneficial for your business.
Wow. There's so many, I just love how detailed you made it, and how easy it is for people to come and sell on your platform, and to help spread awareness for vegans, for vegan consumers, and also for vegan vendors or people who are not yet vegan, but creating that demand for vegan products so that more people can discover them. And yeah, just the activism is very high. So just thank you. I was curious how old you are. I know that's a tangent, but I was just curious.
How old do I look? Just sort
I
of.
want to say like
I know. I'm 30. 30
Okay.
years old.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I was gonna
Yeah.
say like 24. So, okay. I was like 25. I'm 25, so I was like,
You wanna look young, eat plant based, and also put like I'm using daily vegan sunscreen, so yeah, it also helps. But plant based mostly.
100%.
100%. Yeah, you carry yourself a little bit older. I wouldn't have guessed quite where Alex. You just have so much real world experience and knowledge. So let's go into this then. Let's pivot into kind of like I was saying. We have kind of three parts on here. Part three is Jonathan. There's other activists listening to this, whether or not they know they're activists yet. There's also very experienced activists that listen to this podcast. So, speaking to activists, what advice would you offer that you wish you knew earlier on your journey into activism and creating vegan businesses? What would you, if you could catch yourself a few years ago and give some advice, what would you tell yourself?
I have multiple answers for this question. Let's start from the bottom line. One, you're not weird, you're not odd, you're not weak. The other way around. You're doing the moral thing, you're saving life, and don't listen to whoever wants to kind of like bring you down because they live their comfortable life and don't want to look outside of what's going on. So that's the most important thing. Be proud of the fact that you see things differently and you act more morally. Okay, that's one thing. And then, in particular, don't be afraid to bring veganism up. I feel like when I was growing up, until a few years ago, everybody knew that I was vegan, but I was like, I didn't want to disturb people with that. And you know what? A lot of like, I think the meat and dairy industry, influence in social media made us think that if we speak about veganism, we're preachy, right? Like we're doing something wrong. Be smart. Don't tell people that they're not acting right, and like don't shove it into their faces because that's being right and not smart and not impactful. Be impactful, know your audience. Sometimes the most impactful thing you could do is sit among friends and order the vegan dishes we discussed earlier. If you go to a vegan barbecue, you bring the Beyond Meat that you buy or other cool vegan options on Vegan America, by the way, a lot of cool vegan meat alternatives, and bring that to the barbecue and make, just ask whoever runs the barbecue first to kind of like do that first before it touches the meat and everything. And then just eat it. That's impactful. People will come and ask you, you probably faced this situation before, right? When people ask you, hey, why are you vegan? What's going on here? And then that's being smart. Why? Because then you bring veganism up. And it happens like to me, it's like from 90% of the times. And then veganism is discussed. But then when they reach out to you and ask you, you're not conceived as the preacher, and then they're more open to listen. Okay? That's my life experience with plant-based consumption in general. Another thing that I would say, just because people will hear me and say, "Oh, obviously he said that he wants vegan America," but it really matters what we do with our daily choices. Each choice counts. Where do you go and purchase your food from? What toothpaste do you use? What do you do in your spare time? Okay, even who you date. Okay, just think how you can be impactful in each and every one of these options. And even without Vegan America, I will tell you that I want to put my dollars in businesses that support plant-based consumption. I live in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg. You can ask the vegan coffee shop next to me. I'm there all the time. And I just drink coffee most of the time. You guys support me. I try to lose some fat percentage, but still, yeah. Anyway, so I just drink coffee, but instead of buying my coffee at non-vegan coffee shops, I go to vegan coffee shops and spend my dollars there. Okay, it's important. The small choices are important. That's one thing. And second, if you want to kind of interact with vegan America as the way to create impact, and I really believe we're creating true impact in this space. Nobody has tried to do what we're doing before. Okay, and to be honest, on a personal note, after business school, I had gazillion other options. I'd be paid much better than I'm paid on Vegan America. I'll share with you that. Okay, but I decided to dedicate my life to make sure that plant-based consumption is becoming more accessible and affordable. So I'll just say that go on our website, check the vendors, check the brands. Even if you're not ending up purchasing anything, just be aware of the vendors that you can find maybe somewhere else, maybe not, and support these kind of businesses. Put your money where your mouth is. It's important. Like, people don't understand the financial aspect of things, especially in a space in which it's very, I think, mission driven. A lot of nonprofits, and then people think about businesses as something that, well, they want to generate profit. They're probably not like mission driven, and then they miss the entire point of that. A lot of I think progress in the world was achieved because of financial, it was beneficial financially. We can talk about a lot of different stuff. I've heard people try to compare veganism to the slavery that ended 200 years ago, 150 years ago. Okay. And I dived into it. I dived into this comparison. I'm not the one to decide if that's a good comparison or not, and I don't want to touch a sensitive nerve here. But I've read a lot of research, and I invite you all. One of the main reasons, not the only reason, that slavery ended was because of the Industrial Revolution, and because plant owners understood that if they actually paying their employees, they will get better results on the financial side. Okay, so here you go, one of the largest moral revolutions that the world ever knew. Okay, ending slavery, right? If we talk about slavery today, it's a no-go. Nobody speaks about it. Everybody thinks that it's morally wrong. If you speak with people 200 years ago, 300 years ago, even the people you love, the people you care about, some may say that, no, why not? Well, it's something we've been doing for many years now, since the dawn of time. Okay, but now it's objectively wrong. And I say that plant-based, eating animals, is objectively wrong, but we have yet to prove the financial, the financial power of the plant-based ecosystem and power today. So that's what I think. So don't be ashamed or don't fear to speak about money in the plant-based space. It's important for the plant-based space as a whole, regardless if you, and it's not even concerned about don't even think about whether it's not mission driven or not. It is mission driven to put your dollars when your mouth is. That's what I want to say.
I love it. I love it. I think I'm going to throw in my own little piece, because I haven't spoken about this enough, but I'd kind of asked myself for months why there wasn't this team of vegans and coaches doing some next level things together. And I didn't have the name. I didn't have the Vegan Squad name at the time. And I asked myself, why hasn't somebody done this? Why hasn't somebody done this? Why hasn't somebody done this? And then I was like, maybe it's supposed to be me. And not to be egotistical, but if you keep asking for something and it's not there, maybe it's on you to go create it. And Jonathan, like you said, we did not have a vegan version of Amazon. We really didn't. It was not there. And you and Yaron, you guys made this happen. And so whoever's listening to this, why hasn't this happened yet? Maybe it's you that's supposed to go build it. And I think that is some really strong activism right there. And I'm gonna poke the vegan bear. I don't even know if that's a good term. I'm gonna poke this topic, it really hit me because I hadn't spoken much about veganism. And I want to encourage, I know you've said a few times that just being vegan is a huge impact. It is. I don't think anybody should stop being vegan because they don't think it's impactful. But I saw an artist, creator, if you will, on Instagram say, imagine the year is 1829. Your parents own slaves, your brother and sister, they own slaves, and you're in the South, and you wake up and you're there and you have your own slaves. Are you going to let your slaves go free, one, and disagree with everyone else? And is that going to be your last action? Or are you going to fight for the rest of the slaves to go free? Are you going to talk to your parents? Are you going to talk to your siblings? Because like you said, Jonathan, we all agree. Society now agrees slavery is wrong. And if you say that you would fight to free the slaves in 1829, then what about in 2026 when the slaves are just a different species? And so seeing posts like that really helped me find my voice. And I'm not saying everybody needs to be me or you or Alex or really put this out for the world. But if you have that smallest bit of belief that you would have spoken up for the slaves back then, I bet you could be an activist right now. And I also think you had a really good point earlier, Jonathan, on not being preachy. I don't think we want to be preachy, but I think shout out to you for wearing a vegan shirt. And that's why I put it on my head. I cannot leave the house without at least a conversation getting started. And I'm an introvert. I don't like to start conversations. But if somebody's like, are you really vegan? Or why'd you go vegan? Or I guess you're vegan, aren't you? It's on your head. Or you're committed. I'm like, great. Game on. Let's talk about killing some animals. Let's talk about getting covered in blood. Let's talk about cutting the skin off Annabelle the cow before you turn her into a hamburger. And that gets the conversation started. And that plants a seed. I don't expect anybody to going vegan just from a single conversation, but it plants a seed. And like you said, it's not hiding anymore. I used to hide. I used to hide it. I'm proud. I'm proud that I'm different now. And I'm really proud of you for having the balls to do that at 4 years old and to carry it this far and to create something like Vegan America. You said you're going to be changing the world. No, you have changed the world, Jonathan. You've put this on the map. Even if for some reason the doors shut tomorrow, you made it proof and possible that it's here on the map. And I don't think the doors are shutting tomorrow. I think you guys have a phenomenal idea, a real true need that the vegan community needs. And I'm going to do everything within my power to keep promoting you guys and to put this further on the map. And you know what? I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I still order coffee on Amazon. I'm the biggest hypocrite in the world. I have McDonald's coffee. I like the decaf from them. Do you guys have vegan coffee makers on Vegan America?
Yeah, for sure. Multiple brands.
I'm ordering all my coffee on Vegan America from now on. That's it. That's done. Why not? Put my money where my mouth is. I want you guys to succeed. There's little things that I'm sure, like you said, just go browse the website, see what's on there. So what if it's $2 more? What do you want? What future do you want to pay for? And I want to pay for the Vegan America future. So thank you, Jonathan. You're an inspiration, man. Thank you for all you do.
Sure. Thank you guys. You're an inspiration to me too.
Yeah, and I really liked how you spoke about the supply and demand, because that really is what drives the world. And when you were talking about like basically just purchasing like going to the vegan coffee shop over going to a non-vegan coffee shop, it's like similar with people trying to boycott Starbucks. You know, they go to like the mom and pop smaller coffee shops, and veganism is just taking it another step where you're supporting a vegan coffee shop so that nobody is exploited, you know, and going past the workers. So 100% like putting your money where your mouth is, or using your money to vote, because that's essentially what we do as consumers. We get to vote for what future we want to exist in. I've been purchasing a lot of eco-friendly products over the years. Like I use Bite toothpaste, which is like a vegan and like tablet toothpaste instead of toothpaste tubes. Hold On bags, which is like biodegradable trash bags. Like there's so many options out there. and just making the decision to go and purchase them, you feel good doing it, and you get to be an activist in that way as well, because you know that your money is going towards a company that is less exploitative, that produces something positive for the planet. And oh no, did we lose him?
Oh no.
No.
Well, keep going. It'll capture yours.
Well, I want him to be here for it. Hold on. I wrote down the time.
Well, we did really well.
He'll come back. He'll come back. Jonathan, come back. Ah. I wonder if his computer died. Oh,
Well.
he's back. Yes.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm
Okay.
back. Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Welcome
I
back.
miss you guys. It's good to see you again.
We missed it too. I was like, oh no. Anyways, yeah. So you get to vote with your dollar, and you get to pay for products that do not negatively impact the world, other people's lives, animals' lives, and you just get to make a positive impact. So again, I'm just very grateful for you and Johan for creating Vegan America, where people can, not only learn about the ingredients that are used that are not vegan and so many other ingredients that are not vegan, and then they get to also have a vegan option as well and make that decision to make the world a better place and support those vegan businesses so more things are created. And yeah, so thank you. I'm really just very grateful for you. I also had a question, but you can answer me first, then I have a question. if sorry.
No, I think I lost you again for 1 sec. Sorry, I'm not sure what's going on with my internet today, but I'm happy we made it so far. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was just curious, do you have like top 3 products on Vegan America? Like, what are your favorites?
You're pushing me into interesting corner. Now I have to prioritize the kind of vendors.
Not
First
even.
of all, I'd say that
Good.
that I love all the products on Vegan America, obviously. Obviously, by nature, there are products that I use more than others. I use Future Kind supplements. I think they have wonderful supplements. I'm subscribed. Like, the more how I define success, another metric is how much I use Vegan America. Not because I want to support Vegan America, because I truly need the products on Vegan America, okay, through my daily life. So Future Kind supplements, they have the vegan essential supplements that I buy on a regular basis. 2, Blackbird's seitan wings, especially those with the buffalo sauce. They're really hard to get to, before I'm shy, what are the places you have to buy them? Whole Foods, they're not in Whole Foods, at least in my Whole Foods here, okay? So their seitan wings are fantastic. And 3, that's gonna be a tough one, because I'm trying to reduce the amount of sweets that I'm eating, but still, my brother just celebrated his 35th birthday, and I bought him a huge chocolate box from Dalman Confections. They have boutique artisanal vegan chocolates. Wow, this is something that I've never eaten in my life. Try them. They have so many different ones, from Dubai chocolate to creme brulee with crazy stuff. So this must be my 3rd one. But yeah, there are so many good products out there too. I recently bought, do you know Doshi, the vegan leather company?
Yeah.
So I bought there. So I don't have my wallet on me right now, but I just purchased my wallet for them, and it's also a fantastic product. So yeah, there's so many, but I think these are my top.
Let's go. Cool. Yeah, I was curious. I guess, yeah, didn't mean to back you in the corner of like, what are your top 3?
Oh,
Like,
sure.
I was curious, like, what you've recently enjoyed using. So thank you for giving such a variety of goods.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So if you're still listening, make sure you guys go follow Vegan America on Instagram. Make sure you go check out the site. We're going to have it all down below in the show notes. Support Jonathan, support this movement, and really hear him. We can put our money where our mouth is. That is how we change the future.
I want to add something, if you're still listening up until here. I think, we've entered a space that is saturated by nature, which is the e-commerce space, right? And bringing innovation to the table in a saturated space, it's not easy, okay? You'd say that by gathering only vetted products to Vegan America, that's innovation by itself. But I'm talking about like innovation on an infrastructure perspective. And I'd say that I'm lucky to team up with one of the, I think, the smartest minds of our era, which is Yaron, my co-founder. And together we put up a new membership that's called Plant Preferred. If you want an equivalent to Amazon Prime in a sense, but we're gonna put so much more value into it. And do you know how many multi-vendor marketplaces in history has offered some kind of a membership in history? It's less than 10, actually. And why? Because it's super hard and it's not trivial at all, and that's innovation in a saturated place. So we started this membership. It's called Plant Preferred. It helps us, when people subscribe, first of all, it helps us to cover their shipping costs. And second, if people subscribe to Vegan America, and we have a bunch of subscribers and not only like regular shoppers as subscribers, that's a leverage that we're using when we try to convince other companies to incorporate more plant-based options. That's like power, okay? When you have subscribers, not only people who see the website and buy something, which is also very respectful for sure. So I'd love to invite you to go on our website to try it, at least give it a try, free trial. You can cancel anytime and see how much benefits it's going to give you. And we now have, full-time employees that only work on bringing more value into it. So your support, the customer support, is appreciated and needed to a startup in this stage, especially mission-driven startup like ours. So I invite you to go on vegan-america.com and look at the wonderful products we have there, and also on a new membership, Plant Preferred.
I'm gonna go get my Plant Preferred and get my vegan coffee beans. There we go.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I'm excited. I've been looking for something other. I don't really like Amazon. I don't have an account there, and I don't like shopping on there. Sometimes I will use it if it's something like I need something very quickly for whatever reason, but it's like once or twice a year. So I'm excited to sign up for the Plant Preferred and get all the vegan products, and just have access to all of your products. So thank you.
Thank you so much. You don't know how much we get this reaction. Like, customers call me, because I always provide even my cell phone to customers. Call me if you have any feedback for us. That's super important for us. So they call me and say, look, I've been ordering from you and I'm vegan and I want to reduce my usage of Amazon from ethical reasons. And I think it would be better for you to include these brands, these products, to improve that part of the website, to launch an app that we're working on, by the way. So yeah, your feedback is much appreciated also.
Love it. Thank you, Jonathan. Cool. All right. Well, thank you. It was awesome. I'm very inspired by you, and just very grateful that you and Johan did this together. And I'm excited for more people to use it and to get the world to go vegan. We're taking the steps.
Thank you, man. Thank you for inviting me once again.
100%.
See you next week.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in to another phenomenal episode of the Vegan Squad Pod. I hope that you're feeling inspired to pursue activism in your own way. That was our goal when we set out to launch this podcast. We want to help inspire other vegans to find their voices. But that's not all we do. We also have the Vegan Squad coaching team, where we help people find their way to veganism, and we help vegans get even more fit. This, for me, is another form of activism. The more that we can elevate the lives of the vegans that work with us, the more the rest of the world will see us living our best lives and be a little bit curious. Additionally, every single one of the coaches on the Vegan Squad coaching team is 100% vegan. So you know that by supporting us, you are literally supporting other vegans. Exclusive for listeners of this podcast. If you'd like to work with us and hop on a free call, click the link below. One of our expert coaches will reach out and help you elevate on your fitness journey. If anything that you learned today on this episode was useful to you, please share it with a friend, and we'll see you next week.